I have no audio. Can anyone else hear him? While we wait, I hopefully everybody's doing good today. I will be doing a segment later about a tool my favorite tool again. Last week I noticed after I did it that the sound was way off, so I'm gonna try to stay away from doing so many projects.
All right. How's that work? Hear me?
That was a lot better, yes.
All right. Very good. Very good.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us about anything that's coming up for your streams.
Yeah, of course. My name is Mike F. Bell. If you don't know me, I'm the science guy. I used to have a show on here called Weird Science. Did all kinds of experiments and stuff like that. I'm an engineer by trade, a structural engineer. So I know a lot of math, I know a lot of science, and I could definitely put it to good use. I'm happy to be here today with Mr. Fixit, aka or Brad, aka Mr. Fixit, and look forward to seeing what this show is all about.
All right, thank you. What are we gonna be talking about today?
Today, we're going to be talking about a past project of mine and just some stuff that I'm proud of. I've done some work along the years in structural engineering, and I mostly work in the power transmission field. So that's power, like those big power lines that you see that are alongside the highways. They're usually like 500 kilovolts, which is a whole lot of 500,000 volts.
Wow.
500,000 volts. That's a lot because you figure that the power that you're getting outside of from your outlet is only 120 volts, 110. But these are big projects, and I've had lots of projects I've been proud of. I've actually brought online wind farms in Oklahoma, another one in Florida. There was another one in Texas. I've done a couple of different interconnects with the DC field. So the US runs on a bunch of different networks of power, right? They have to be interconnected with DC, with direct current. Everything is alternating current, usually because you do the transmission of these high amounts of power, you lower the current by increasing the voltage because V is equal to IR. That's Ohm's law. You probably heard of it. You're an electrician, right? But you all that kind of stuff. But anyway, uh, I've had lots of good experiences. I've had experiences where I had issues along the way. I had make modifications to original plans, and contractors always come back from the field with problems. There's always some kind of something doesn't fit exactly right. So let's say I needed I don't know, a 3/8 inch bolt, right? But really, I needed a half-inch bolt. Like that could really derail things. And like the same kind of thing, I've actually had a line that was in North Carolina, and the contractors they got to installing. You've probably seen them. They're called bird balls, like those big orange balls that are on the lines.
Oh, the ones that look like basketballs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they're bird balls to keep the birds off the lines and prevent them from getting killed. Even though birds technically can go on the line without killing themselves because it's not a path to ground. They're still in the air. so they're insulated from ground. But if like a bird or something somehow is able to contact ground, it's gonna zzz. You probably seen a bunch of videos of like pelicans and like all kinds of. It's usually the bigger birds that do it.
All
But
right.
I also had a pretty interesting project that I worked on. It was um, a surveillance camera system for the sheriff's office, and basically they were cutting down on crime. They were having a big issue with crime in some areas, so they wanted these installations of these CCTV cameras, and they were like these big power poles basically, and at the top of them you had the communications, and you had like speakers and uh, PV or yeah PTV, Panzilt, yeah, Pan Zoom Tilt, yeah, something like that. But those actually significantly cut down on crime in those areas.
That's really cool.
So it was good. But being an engineer is interesting because you always have to adapt and kind of think on your feet. Because nothing ever goes according to plan. Even if you plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But even if you plan, a lot of times it's not going to work out exactly right. But try to eliminate that, and you just make it better, and just make modifications. But yeah,
I'm gonna take a moment just to let everybody know that they're at Mr. Fix or Fixit's corner with Mr. Fixit. We have Mike Bell in the box. Later we're gonna have Bulldog and Papa Bear in the box. Mike right now is talking about being an engineer. I do have quite a few questions about this.
of course.
You said that you did wind farms.
Yeah, I've worked on wind farms too. Wind farms, but mostly solar farms.
All right. Do you have to travel for those, or do you do
Of
them all?
course, yeah. I know the wind farm that I did, and there was another one in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a lot of renewable energy. They have wind farms, they have solar farms. They're looking pretty good for the percentage of renewables that they have.
All right, because I'm right around here. We have tons of the solar farms. We have wind farms. I actually worked on one of the wind farms in Western New York.
Okay.
I just wondering if that was something that you would. How would you go about setting up one of those? Or
How would you go about setting up one of those? Well, the first thing is planning. So usually the utility is the one that owns all this, and they want to make an expansion to their power lines or something. So what they do is they send out a request for proposal, or RFQ, or a request for RFP, yeah. But that's the first thing that gets met, and then the engineers like me, we look at this and we basically come up with a design criteria. And the design criteria is like all the specifics that we could think of, kind of like a maybe like a 20-30 page document with all this stuff, what we think is going to work, and we look at some basic stuff. So it's like a pre-analyzation, and then from there, um, the utility comes back with whoever they want to have the contract. So whoever the lowest bid is, and then we go ahead and we start doing designs, and there's geotechnical people that will get out into the fields to take they'll do what's called a penetrative testing. They basically impact it with, it's like a hammer, and smashes a rod down into the ground, and they're able to measure the amount of blow counts and how it's gone, how deep it's gone, and from that data, I'm able to take that and get the properties of the soil. Because as a structural engineer, I also know geotechnical engineering and civil engineering, and so then from there, it's designs. We design all the different poles, and the poles are usually we do steel. They're steel, and they're 12-sided steel poles, and they come in sections. They just slide right on top of each other.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And then all the bolting, we have to make sure we do our Avenger draw sets and make sure the all the holes are drilled correctly so they can attach everything in the field.
All right.
But it's all checked, triple checked, and I mean, no one person is doing anything. It's just everybody's doing everything pretty much, and we all check each other's work.
I never knew all that went into that, like checking the soil and all that stuff too.
Yeah, checking the soil. There's if we go over any waterways or anything, we have to get environmental permits in order to do any type of construction. And a lot of times the EPA requires that we bring in matting. It's like these big boards that they drop down so it doesn't like chew up the area with the equipment that's going in. So we have to drop that in, and then construction begins from there. But it's an interesting process. It takes usually a couple of years from pre-planning to completion of the project.
That's cool.
But,
yeah, I never got to really actually work on any of the wind farm. The only thing I really did was patrol it. I was a security guard for it.
Okay, cool.
So learning about what I was actually securing is awesome for me.
Yeah, wind farms are pretty neat, man. They're a good way to make power if you're in a windy area. Like all that, like the Midwest and the windy areas where they get all the tornadoes are good for wind.
Yep. If you ever get the chance to come up here, I can show you these wind farms. They're huge. They're
awesome. What part of New York are you in?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Okay. I
So-
was what was it, like 2 hours north of Albany in Lake George.
Yep. That's a beautiful area. I love that area.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
All right, Mike.
I enjoyed it.
Can you tell us when we can find you?
Of course. Be sure to follow me on here, my Mike F. Bell, and you could find me on all social media at Mike F. Bell. So find me on Instagram. I'm on I think I'm on Twitch, YouTube. Yeah, lots of them.
All right. I see you're going live. Are you excited?
I am. It's going to be awesome seeing you there, Brad.
Yes, it'll be amazing to see you. All right. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, actually, I want to see if there's any support for bringing back my show, Weird Science, and doing those experiments. Maybe a featured show, but if you're interested, please favor me and send me a hi and say, yeah, I'd like to see Weird Science back. That would be very encouraging.
I'd love to see your show again. I used to watch it all the time.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I had a fun time doing it. I got to have the support.
Yep, I'll support you. I'm sure a lot of people will too, because there's a lot of people that liked it. So, all right. Well, thank you for being here today and talking to us. If you could wait till the end of the show, because I do a final thought segment. So,
Okay, I'll call us all back in the box.
yeah, I'm gonna have everybody in the box, and we'll all talk about our final thoughts. So,
okay, that sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, Brad, and look forward to it.
Yep, thank you. I don't like to kick out of the box, so go ahead. All right. Again, this is Fix It's Corner with Mr. Fix It. We just had Mike in the box talking about being an engineer, wind farms. Next, we will have Papa Bear in the box. He'll be talking about, I'm not sure. Let's find out.
I like to keep a little mystery in our relationship, Brad.
So this is Papa Bear. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. Papa Bear sings. Name says it all. I'm a dad who sings and I play guitar. I'm actually a drummer who plays guitar and sings, but been streaming for about 2.5 years. This week my son is back home from college, so always exciting to have that. Oh my gosh, got to deal with another person in the house. Oh yeah, okay, but that's fun. And I stream at random times. I'm gonna start up again next week, I think it is, with my third Thursday at 3 open mic. So 3 Eastern, so 4 Central. And just a chance for people to come in and, do some music, sing some music, play their instrument. I try to have fun with it. I try to, have a background that matches whatever song they're doing. And we'll also do a lot of trivia about the music that's being played. If I know it, I share it. And also do a lot of open mics around the app as well. And I think that's it for now.
All right. So what are you going to talk about today?
Well, I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, what to do. One thing I remember suggesting is the idea of guess the tool. Yeah. So I have one I brought. So you can try it out. I mean, not try it out, but try out the idea of this is the tool my dad had in his garage. I don't know why. And it took me a little bit to figure it out. And I was able to finally look at there's a little raised info there. And I did a bunch of research on the internet and I found out what it is. But I would love to share the name of this and what it is later before I go. But if anybody has any ideas, they can throw them in the comments, or you also. But then I went, what else do I got? I've got a bunch of stuff. I've got some antiques. A lot of them are connected to music. And then specifically an idea I had to create a jug band. A jug band is a band that has, those little jugs in it. Yeah. And there's usually a guitar, maybe a fiddle, banjo, stand-up bass, or a wash tub bass, which I'll show in a minute. So I started putting together, like, what would a kitchen themed or laundry room themed jug band look like? So I got a wash tub. I've got a couple of things. I've got the washer board. This one's not an antique, but it is actually a washer board. There's a company that makes them that are just for making music, but this is a washboard that, anyway. It's a percussive instrument, and there's actually some project stuff related in a second here, but as I'm like, this is not just show and tell. So the washboard or the wash tub bass is like a stand-up bass, boom, 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 boom. And now if I can maneuver properly, because to show this one, okay. You see the wash tub down here at the bottom?
Yep.
Put that forward a little bit. So it's just a big wash tub. And then there's a wooden dowel, usually like a broom handle. This one technically is a broom handle. And then there's a piece of catgut or nylon. This is weed whacker, whatever you call that stuff that comes out of a weed whacker. And when you pull the stick back, can you hear that?
Yep.
So by moving the stick away, you can change the pitch, or by moving the hand down, holding the string down. My son is a bass player. I'm not, but that's as good as we're going to get out of me with a stand-up bass, a washed-up bass. Sorry about the craziness there. And again, with my son moving in, the studio is downstairs. It's summer coming to Minnesota. Upstairs gets hot. He lives in the studio in the summer. So I lost my studio, so I'm up here. Going along with all this, so the washed, and I got to type it out because here's the actual name of the group. But then we play around with that people call them this.
Nice.
So it's the washed, it's actually wash tub players, but then the joke is people call them the washed up players. But so there'd be stuff like the washerboard, the stand-up bass made out of the wash tub. This one I haven't figured out how to convert it into an instrument yet, but it's also another one of those, guess what it is. And then underneath,
Not even sure.
yeah, I ran across it and I had no idea. Then I finally did a little more research, and you can see they got little flanges here, and the base here. Basically, it's for washing clothes. It's an agitator.
All right.
So you can just kind of like boom, 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 and be careful doing that on a stream so you don't get banned. I've learned. So just playing around with different instruments like that, and how you can take this thing, instead of using they usually use thimbles, you can also use, like I said, the clothespins, or just like all sorts of different stuff. So the things that I've been working on is figuring out what to do with this washing agitator to make it into an instrument. I might do something like where I connect the string to the handle down to the bell, and then not the mic bell or the mic F bell, but this bell. But I could also do something with like the spring I did with the last week's show, and then just use it. It would also be like a little one-string guitar type instrument, and then a couple small irons for a little more percussion. So the idea is to have a variety of different instruments that are all laundry related. Oh, and I didn't grab it, but I have a garden hose trumpet or bugle. Take a garden hose, put a funnel at the end, and then, and as you play it, the bell of the, not the mic F bell, but the bell of the funnel. Sorry, I'll stop saying that joke. But you get like a trumpet sound out of it. And that was another project, and I wish I would have grabbed it because I was not. And other things that I've been working on as far as musically, this is my little prototype, work in progress, percussive guitar.
Ooh.
So it's got a tambourine attached to the face of it, and also a snare from a snare drum, so that just strumming, you can hear the little snare in the background. And if I do something more percussive with playing it, so it's still a process, a work in progress. My son, I played it for him, and he was like, "Yeah, that's pretty hellish, Dad." And I went, is that a good word or a bad word? I'm never sure of that word. And he goes, "No, it's not a good word, Dad. Keep working on it." So, I'm not sure what else I'll do. I might add like a spring to the inside of the guitar. That's something you can do to get more reverb. Other projects. So this isn't a project. This is from a local company in Minnesota here. It's a cajon, which is a drum. It's a box drum. This particular one is played to sit in your lap. So you can see there we go. Just a little flash there. But so then you have two different sounds. You get this sound over here and another little higher, lower, because there is you can't really see it unless you look at it. There's a piece of wood that's tacked to the solid wood. So it kind of separates them into two pieces. The smaller piece has a higher pitch, the bigger half has a lower pitch. And you just play it. And I was trying to figure out how to make a, different sort of a newer version, something different, unique. And I ran across one that had a different shape. It was flat, and then it kind of was more rounded across the bottom. I thought, well, that could be interesting. So what I did is I decided to start creating that. So I wanted something that would be, rounded. And as I was playing around with it, I realized that the shape or the arc was about the same as something my dad had built. So this is a rocking horse that my dad built for my oldest child when she was my stepdaughter. So she came into my life when she was 4. So that first Christmas, so she was just 4.5. He built her a rocking horse, which he did for all his grandkids. And I looked at the bottom of it, the arc, and I went, I wonder if I can use that shape for this lap cajon, this lap, yeah. And so I traced it out. Now the wood that I had was shorter than that, and I wanted to keep it true to this, so I thought I'll just add some at the end eventually, because you need to close it off, because right now it's there, it's quiet, it doesn't have, it's just got too much room for the air to come out, so it's not containing the sound enough. But that would be the idea, is that eventually it would be something that's in my lap, and it has that little nod to my dad, who passed 8 years ago last month. And by keeping that shape of the rocking horse. And the hardest part, and it shows in this one, is what I should have done, shoulda, woulda, coulda, is, and I'm sure you, okay, what do you think might have been my first mistake in trying to build this?
I'm thinking probably didn't measure twice.
Oh, that's a good one. Can you see? This is me holding it level. Can you see what it looks like though?
Yeah, it's off. It's off center.
It's off because I started by first. I didn't create like a frame. I think what I should have done, you can confirm this for me, is before I added the fascia, or the tapia is what it's called with the cajon. Before I added this, is taken these pieces of wood and built like a box, make sure it's nice and square, has some solid supports in there, and then add the 2 pieces of plywood so that it would stay true to the shape. So maybe I'll even work on that this summer so I can come back. Maybe this will be my summer project, is to finish this finally and see how that works. Any other suggestions you would have for?
I think that's a good suggestion. Maybe even a little bit of sanding, make sure that they're even too.
One more time.
Maybe a little bit of sanding on like the rocker part of it, to make sure that they're
sure,
even, so they're not a little bit bigger on one side than the other.
Yep. And then I was trying to think if I might do like even just putting a dowel through here just to give it like a handle.
Yep.
And also explain why are there these little bumps at the end? It's not needed, because it really isn't. The only reason they have those bumps is to stick with the rocking horse.
Yep, I understand that.
So that, yeah, I think I might just take this on as, this or the laundry agitator, or cleaning my house might be first.
I'm gonna take a moment and let everybody know that they're here at Fix It's Corner with Mr. Fix It. Right now we have Pop Bear in the box talking about his musical inventions. We had Mike Bell in the box earlier talking about wind farm engineering and different types of engineering that he's done. I'm surprised he's never been electrocuted. I'm sure he has, but not. Next up, we'll have Bulldog in the box. And I'm not sure what he's going to be talking about. This is a surprise day for me. And then we will have a segment over about a tool, my favorite tool of use use, which will be a surprise for you guys. Back to Pop Bear.
Yeah. Hey, and I didn't know you were from Buffalo.
Yes.
I was very excited about that because I've been there. I lived in Rochester, New York for a year, and we went to Buffalo for a show. I was in a theater troupe, and we went to that bar or restaurant where Buffalo Wings started.
Anchor Bar.
And yeah, because a lot of people, they're like, why do they call them Buffalo? Buffaloes don't have wings, and joke. But yeah, Buffalo Wings started in Buffalo, New York, and just again, his mom, their kid came over, the people who owned it, their son came with friends, and they said, oh, let's make him some snacks. Oh, let's try this. And they just tried this out, and it went over really well, and now they're everywhere, which is cool.
All right.
So, any ideas what this might be?
When I first saw it, I was thinking to cut toenails on a horse.
Wow, nicely done. I think when I saw it first listed, it was listed as a cow hoof trimmer. But then I saw one of the other listings had it both as cow or horse nail trimmer or hoof trimmer. And I was like, because I sat here looking at it going like, okay, it's a cutting thing, but what the heck would you need something this size? And the handles are, 1.5 feet long. And for enough, send me 5 wheels. Anyone, you can have this. I'll send it. I'm kidding.
I didn't understand why the handles are so long, though.
Oh, yeah, I do now. Yeah.
You sit on them and do them.
Well, yep, that and just the fact that you get leverage.
Yeah.
That's why when if you can't get your lug nuts off your car because they're too tight, you just add a pipe to the end of the lug wrench, and then that extra foot or two of pipe gives you that much more strength.
Yep.
For power. All right. I'm trying to think of that's most of what I had. The other device that someday I have to figure out how to make this into a musical instrument is at the top of a watch. It's a thing for wringing out clothes.
Yeah.
So it's got this, and this allows you to tighten it so you can have it looser or tighter. And I got it with the same place I got the agitator and a couple other things that were laundry related antiques, and I was like, I've got to figure out some way of making like a grinder box or some sort of instrument out of this, because it would fit nicely with the wash tub players.
I was thinking like what are those called? The tambourine, the cymbals on that, put them together on there, and
that could work.
Yeah.
Oh, it could also be like an old time music box.
Yeah.
It just has little bumps on it, and then there's the metal tongues that as the different things hit the different tongues. I could make a music box out of this. Cool. Well, we'll find out what happens.
All right.
Sweet. Well, I'll hang out in the box, or I'll hang out in the chat until you're ready to have us all come back in.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Pop Bear talking about his inventions. I want to take a moment to thank everybody for their gifts. Thank you for coming in. Next up will be Bulldog, and we'll find out what he's going to be talking about. Hey, Bulldog. Go ahead.
Just getting home, John. Quick. I appreciate you putting me last.
You're running behind, so I wanted to give you a chance to do whatever you had to do.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. So, I'm Bulldog NC. I am actually a quality tech for a machine shop, but I am originally a CNC machinist. I set up and programmed CNC machines, and one of the biggest projects I've ever worked on was for Scott pistons. It's little pistons that go inside gas masks to help firefighters or people in the military breathe when they have gas masks on. We I actually spent a good amount of time on getting the engineering process going on that to actually get that project to go, set up the machine and program it and everything. And it was really fun actually, getting in the process of actually programming that machine to actually make those and actually getting a chance to try it on and seeing how it worked. I mean, it was a really, really good thing. Done a lot of stuff for like airplanes, making little control screws where, you got your circuit board here, and then you got another little circuit board, little screws that screw in that, and then a screw that screws in it. Really small stuff. I mean, you can actually, it's probably about that big, no bigger than that, and it's got a tapped hole in it, and you do all that. But yeah, I do a lot of interesting stuff being a machinist.
That's cool.
I've also done stuff for like the AR, making the key and bolt systems for that. A lot of stuff for Bushmaster. I've done some really cool projects. Right now, the company I work for, we make gas components for your pilot lights or your thermostat, climate control thermostats in hospitals, and pretty cool stuff. And I'm actually in the process of getting my shop going, and I'm going to be making screws for drones. So that's going to be a pretty cool project. I mean, the guy actually had brought me one of his drones, and if I was at the shop, I could show it to you and everything, and show you the screw that I'm working on. I mean, it's a pretty cool thing. But yeah, we're going to open up and start making these contracts for these drones, making the screws for this company. So it's pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to doing that. I mean, you got any question about CCing or?
What I'd like to hear is about, do you have a project that you have worked on that you're absolutely proud of right now?
Right now, I am working on a, I don't know how to describe it to you. It's more like I do a lot of stuff for my dad's Harley. So right now we got a plate that I'm actually taking the CNC mill and sketching out like an eagle with USMC on it and a few other things. I mean, it's very detailed. The program writing for it was, it was crazy. I mean, because you got to come up, go down, come up, come down, and then just milling the surface of it is, which I used a lathe when I done that. I took a boring bar and just rolled around it and got me a flat surface on it and put it in my mill and locked it down and just sketched out the eagle. It's very, my dad is anything Marine Corps. My dad's all about it. So, anytime I get a chance to do something for him, I mean, I've done his handlebars, bending them, getting them just right. I mean, I've done stuff like, I've actually got a mill that you can bring a picture or something, and I can actually cut a piece of sheet metal and cut it into like a horse that you can like put up in your front yard, and like people do with deers and other stuff. Like Halloween, we actually cut out and sketched out a scarecrow and put it out there, and just like with that tin, you can like put like little wires to it, and you can shake it like when kids are coming up for candy or something, just shake it, scaring them. So it was really fun doing that. I enjoy doing stuff like that. Let's see. Actually, at this moment, other than the Eagle, I forget what it goes on on the motor, on the outside of the motor. So it's just a little shield that you screw up on it. Other than that, it's the only thing I really got done going on right now. I've got We just got a big project at work that I'm helping out with right now with gas lamps. So we got it where you make the pilot light on it where the gas comes out and gets the flame. We've got them shaping out into like pitchforks. We've actually got one that looks like a war hammer, and when you light it up, it actually looks like a war hammer that you hold and swing. So it's pretty cool what you can do with flames when you get the right imprints on it. So yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
Oh yeah. I love CNC machining because one thing about it is no matter how much you know, every day you learn something new. And you've been doing this as long as I have. I've been doing it for 18 years, and I've learned a lot. But every day I learn something new. Something new with these machines are always coming out. Things that you can do with them. I mean, like just like I was saying with the pilot lights, how the flame comes out and you can make it look like a war hammer or a pitchfork. We even have one that we can actually, the way they crimp it, can come out looking like a pumpkin. I'm no kidding. I mean, with the jack-o'-lantern, I mean, it's pretty cool how you can do things with that. I love it. Want to learn more, want to keep going. I want to get my shop open, and so I can get stuff like that to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So during this CNC and stuff, do you have any mishaps that have happened that went terribly wrong?
Yes, you see a lot of mishaps. I mean, the worst thing I've ever had was I was in the middle of doing a job. I was pushing the bar stock through the collet and getting ready to set it to do. Got it set real good and everything like that. And most companies, they use a coolant, like a water base. Well, the company I was working for at the time, we used oil base. So as I'm sitting there facing it off, I wasn't paying attention and didn't turn my speed up, my RPMs up. And so when it was on, it was just burning my insert. And insert is like a kind of like a blade on a knife, but it's actually, you know, you got a certain cut, certain angle on it, and it gives it that nice finish, nice looking cut. And as I was cutting it off, I turned around and looked at something and turned back, and I seen flames coming up, and it hit that oil, and it caught my machine completely on fire. But a preventative that we had that we created was like a fire extinguisher thing in it. I mean, you just pull this little pin, and it circles around in a tube, and it goes into that machine. It sprays everything inside there so the machines don't get damaged or anything. Another thing that I've seen is somebody having the RPMs up too high and be moving it in just a little bit to do their touching off and stuff like that, and cause a $10,000 turret, which is probably about this big around with different tool holders in it, and just snap it in half and nearly take a man's arm off.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. I've done a lot of woodworking with lathes, and I've actually seen someone who's been doing it for 30 years forget to tighten one screw and watch a blade come out. You know, it's a dangerous field, and the one thing I can tell anybody who ever wants to be into machining or doing stuff like that is respect the machine. Don't be scared of it. Respect it and know it can hurt you. But, you know, being careful, practicing all your safety, I can guarantee you, I've only seen one person lose a finger. And you know, if you're safe about it and you watch what you're doing, I guarantee you'll have fun learning at it and going on with it. One thing about CNCs is we got a lot of doors and the shields that, you know, we're not direct in contact. Now, manual machining, you don't have all that. I mean, you do have to wear your safety glasses, try to keep them chips out of your eyes. But yeah, I respect it, you know, and everything, and you should be fine. But like I said, CNC to me is like one of the best fields. I mean, there's a lot to learn. If you're a person that likes to learn, CNC machining is the way to go.
All right, that sounds like an interesting thing to get into. I'm actually trying to change careers, so.
Yeah, they got all kinds of schooling you can learn. We have machines, like I'm in quality now. We have machines now that you can take a penny and put on the glass surface and get the lighting just right. And if you know anyone has these kind of machines or something, they could show you this. You can actually see the hair on a gnat's ass. Yeah. I mean, also you could take a penny and you can magnify it so far down that you can see Abe Lincoln sitting in the Lincoln Memorial and actually see the shadows pitched and everything. They is so detailed inside that penny that you would not believe the kind of things. I wish I was at work right now. I would actually show y'all. I mean, because it's really amazing. The lighting, the magnifying glass that they got on these things is amazing. The things you can see on them.
That is pretty amazing.
I mean, you can look at a comparator. It's a tool that we use to magnify and see. You can actually, check angles and degrees and stuff like that, just using a little light and magnifying glasses to do that. But the one machine I use is called a MicroView, and you can program this machine to start to finish to check this part without you even touching any controls or anything. You push one button, we program it, you push one button, and it moves in and it gets all those bits. And afterwards, you could take that part off and take your calipers or your micrometers and check those parts. And then I can guarantee you that every dimension that you check with those microviews and calipers will be the same thing off that machine. That's how accurate it is.
All right.
Yeah. So pretty interesting stuff in that field. I love it. I would recommend it to anybody.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just hold on for one moment here. I want to thank everybody for coming to Fix This Corner. Right now we have Bulldog in the box. We had Papa Bear in the box talking about his music inventions, and we had Mike F. Bell in the box talking about his engineering. Right now I'm running short on time, so I'm going to ask everybody to come back in the box. We're going to have our final thoughts. Before I do that, I do want to thank all the gifters today. You guys are all amazing. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be on this app. Let's go ahead and bring everybody else back up in here. Mike, are you still here?
I don't see it.
I actually have a picture at work on my computer that we saved whenever the guy that taught us how to use that MicroView, he brought in a slide that had a gnat inside of it, and he MicroViewed it. I mean, he magnified it so far that you could actually see the hairs on them.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
what you were just talking earlier too about safety is, when I was like 25, 26 around there, I was working at a camp, and a week before the kids come up, and they hired me to play guitar and to run programming. And a week before the kids come up, we're doing all the stuff to get ready, and the boss said, "Hey, grab some of these birch logs and go down basement. There's a radio arm saw, and just cut them into a 1/4 inch, to make badges." I'm like, okay. And I went down. I was like, well, that's the same kind of machine my dad had. I might have used it once, and this is just insane that they even without checking out me. And I'm cutting away, and I hit a knot, and it pulled my hand across, and I grabbed it. And I was like, oh my god, it doesn't hurt. Oh, maybe I just hit the guard or something. I look down. I'm just like everywhere, and managed to, they had to do like 25 stitches or something there. Doctor said, yeah, you did about as much damage as you could and still keep your fingers, but it impacts my playing. I have to come up with hacks sometimes, how to do certain things on a guitar or how to play this song, because there's certain things I can't do with this hand. So yes, safety first.
Yeah, I actually worked on a bandsaw when I worked in furniture, and we used to shape the armrest, cutting the shapes out on it, and actually had a blade break while my hand was in the middle of it, and it just barely got my thumb right here. A nice little scar there. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Yeah.
But it was terrible.
Yeah, definitely safety first, man. Because It was funny. I had that classic moment though where I'm like, Doc is working on it. Go, so Doc, am I going to be able to play guitar? He goes, I don't know. Could you play guitar before? Okay, set that one up.
All right, I'm not seeing my request box. I don't know if he's still in here or not. To go with your guys' conversation, I cut my middle finger 99% of the way off.
Ooh.
On a fork truck, had hoppers, and I was trying to pull the hopper back up onto the fork truck. And for some reason, this one had handles. Not supposed to have handles. I pulled the handle, pulled back, and got stuck between the guard and the hopper. Didn't even know it. I was still driving around, empty 3 more hoppers. I just thought I smashed my finger. Someone comes over to me and goes, "What's on your shirt?" I look down, and it's just drenched in blood.
Oh, wow.
So I was rubbing my face and stuff, and
when I was a kid, the community pool, you always had to shower before and after. To make sure you showered, they had the water on all the time. And to make sure people didn't shut it off to go past, they took the handles off of the shower handles.
Ooh.
Which anybody who's worked on plumbing knows that when you take the handle off, there's like this little cog sort of thing that the handle fits onto and allows it to turn. Well, that means you have like 6 of those sticking out the wall at about 3 feet height, and I'm 5, I think, at this point. And I'm like looking at it and going, the water's shooting this way. If I stay really close to the wall, I can avoid the water. And so I went as close to the wall as I could, and I ran, and I hit one of them, and I'm like, ow, ow, ow. And I just thought I bumped it, and I leave, and as I'm leaving the building, the other kids walk in and goes, "Hey, kid, you're bleeding?" I was like, and I looked down, and it's just like all over me. And then I walked back in, and my brother and sister were there, and they were looking for me, and I was like, have you seen him? No, but I heard some kid cracked his head open. It's like, oh, wait, that's...
All right, so I want to take this time. Anyone have any final thoughts for the viewers today?
I don't know that we have one that could top safety first, but
Right. Yeah, safety first always. Wear your eye gear. If it calls for safety gloves, wear safety gloves. Keep your shirts tucked in. You want to wear long sleeves, keep them rolled up real good. Do not wear any loose jewelry, wedding bands and stuff like that. Put on a necklace, put it inside your shirt.
no ties.
Yeah, exactly.
So
No
if
ties.
you're a weekend, if you're working at home and you might be, Sunday you came home from church, you want to do a little woodwork before you have dinner. Yeah, no ties.
Definitely for the men and women out there who have long hair, make sure you put it up.
Yep. What is
Your
this?
tools nowadays tell us to wear protective equipment.
Right.
What did that say? I missed it.
It's wear protective glasses while using tape measure.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite is the plastic bags now that say this is not a toy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. It actually is a toy. We used to make, like little parachutes. You get the plastic bags and you add a little figure to them and throw it, and it fills up with air. And
all right.
yeah.
Now, do you guys, Bulldog, when can we find you live? And do you have anything coming up that you want to promote?
Most of the time, you can find me live about this time right here between 5 o'clock and then I stay on probably to 8. Sometimes I stay on later depending on what I'm doing. I mostly sit around and hang out and talk to people, or I'm doing a cooking stream. I have a show myself called Bulldog's Kitchen Cook-Off, which right now we are in the middle of reamping and getting some things straightened out to get it back going again. Also, I have an auction coming up this Saturday for Rogers Dress as a Gift at 7:55. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern Saturday, we are having a Fave for Fave /10 milli party in my stream. Me and Mick Bonus, we both hit our 10 milli right around the same time last Saturday. So we are going to throw a big party for that. Going to have trivia, games, and stuff like that. So anyone's welcome. And that's about it.
Okay, yeah, I've got let's see, over here at Meet Me next week, like I said, the third Thursday at 3 open mic will start up again. I took a break for a while because of some health reasons and family stuff. But third Thursday at 3 open mic. And then the week after that, I am starting as, I'm joining Bellevue, who does a spelling bee every other week. Currently, it's every other week.
That's a very fun show.
What's that?
I said that's a very good show. I've been on it.
Yeah, me too. I've been on it twice, and I've won both times. And when I was on this last week, she's like, "Oh, Papa Bear, stay after the game. I want to talk to you for a minute." I'm just like, those words never are good. Your boss says, "Hey, come here. I want to talk to you before you go." It usually never ends well. So I'm like, "Uh-oh, okay." So she's like, "How would you feel about co-hosting the show with me?" I'm like, "Huh. I love spelling. I love language. Sure, let's give it a shot." So that's on Monday nights at 11, Tuesday morning at midnight, that weird time, which, it's kind of, I almost miss it every time because I put down, they say, yeah, it's Tuesday at midnight. So I, of course, write it down. I go down Tuesday, midnight. Okay, well, no, that's actually Wednesday. But so that starts, our first show together will be the 20th that night, at midnight. So 11:59 p.m. that night. And then I have an auction, I think, coming, a wig auction on the 18th. My Instagram, papabear.mn, is the best place to find out what I'm up to. Or check out my personal admin, Emoji J. I'm kidding.
All right. I do want to thank you guys for being on the show today. It means the world to me. I want to thank everybody for coming to Fix It's Corner. I'm Mr. Fix It. We've had Mike Bell in the box talking about his engineering. Papa Bear talking about his musical inventions. And Bulldog, I've read your name, talking about his machining. I do want to thank all the gifters. I want to thank all the viewers. And that's the end of the show, I guess.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on it, Mr. Fix It. I got to get these kids some dinner fixed and everything. I really do appreciate it. So you have a good one, buddy, and we'll catch you next time.
Oh, and don't forget
Jay or Beard or myself.